Here I am, the Hurricane, and welcome to another edition of BadCatz Sports Podcast. In the house tonight, we got my man on the wheels of steel. Tell me a little something about you, young man. Javier Mendez. What's that, Irish? We know that, Javier. We know that, bro. I'm playing with you.
No, he's English. Come on.
We need a little brevity in the
English
game.
or German?
Okay, so Puerto Rican, Dominican, right?
Both. Yep.
Both. Whoa.
Right on the nail.
Right on the head,
Whoa. Okay, you're looking fly today. You work with Sage. You're my man, always smiling. I'm feeling it. We got my man Sage going down. We got that wrestling video of you. Every time I want to introduce you, I want that in your file.
That's awesome. Man.
We got to work on files. Ice Age. If you know, then you know. If you don't, then you're about to. Believe me. Sure enough. That's for sure. That's my man with the plan, right? That guy makes the place happen. Absolutely. And then, of course, Rowdy Riley Aruda. No words need to be spoken. Either you know or you don't. And if you don't, you're in for a treat. What's that red thing on the bottom of the image?
It's just the heart.
That's a heart.
So somebody
Somebody
heart.
loves
Someone already loves it.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you so much. So, camping fellas, right?
Yes, I will.
Yo, is that a
sadly didn't go.
stain that I see on that jersey, the yellow above?
No, those are the stars.
Those are the stars for the two World Cups.
Maradona, the hand of
Yes.
God.
Yes.
Maradona, hand to God. Did he hit it with his hand or did he hit it with his
Yeah.
elbow?
Oh, that rat bastard.
Well,
He's
if this is
really
nowadays with VAR, that's a red card, and he's not playing the rest of the game.
good. Yeah.
He clearly intended it to hit it with his hand, and
Hey,
as soon as it went,
Messi did the same thing.
You think they'd have the balls to give
100%.
Diego a red
Yeah.
card?
100%.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
have to.
Yeah.
Nowadays, yes, but not back then because back then it was
The
kind of hard to see it.
motherfucker was a stone cold criminal his entire career.
You ever see the video of him like literally knocking a dude out at the end of the game? Like there's a huge fight that brawls out, right? And he's punching a couple of guys, kicks one. A goalie goes to tackle him, right? And just boom, knees him right in the head, and the guys
knocks
come
him out.
like
Just
this,
like
completely
UFC
knocks
style.
him out, like
Crazy.
kills, like oh my god, it was terrible.
We're going to talk about fan violence.
Oh yeah.
I think it's getting,
Out of
it's
hand.
tipping.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We'll talk about that in a little bit, but right now, so tell me about camping now. Are you on the Saco River? Is that where you're camping?
Well, no, we were
I
on.
was.
Yeah, he was. But
Oh, you went this weekend?
Yeah,
Yes.
I went this weekend.
Oh, really?
to
Who'd you
Saco.
go with?
It was me, my aunt, her husband, my other aunt's husband,
Oh, boy.
and then a lot of their friends. So,
Really?
yeah, my aunt was supposed to
Did your
go.
girl go with you?
No.
How
no.
come?
Well, that was my aunt and uncle were supposed to go, but then my aunt, right after she said yes, she backed out.
Yeah.
And so he called me up and he was like, "Hey, man, your aunt backed out. You want to go?" I was like, yeah, hell yeah.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
I've been there once with him actually. We
Yeah.
did it with a bunch of our cousins, and I was. such
There's,
a good
there's
time.
a bunch of hippies and stoners and partiers just
Yeah,
getting
that's
fucked
all
up
it
on
is,
the thing, right?
Yep.
Now, is the water deep enough to drown?
No, there's some spots.
Or you can drown it in a foot
you can
of
drown
water.
in anything. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
I know what you mean.
But no, most of it is pretty shallow.
But there's some spots. Remember that last year?
There's a few spots.
Way over our head. Remember when I jumped in? I was like, and I sat down there for like 3 seconds. I was like, yo, I need to hit the bottom to go back up. And I was like, I'm not gonna hit the bottom. I
Yeah,
gotta
yeah,
start
to swim
swimming.
up, yeah.
Like so I was expecting it to be low, and it was like way over
But
my
there's
head.
only a few spots. There's only
Ankle
like,
deep.
Yeah, most of it's ankle, knee deep.
So what is the essence of Saco River?
So there's two.
Like my friends used to go to trip out.
Yeah.
You know what I
that's-
mean? It's like a slow and low
Yeah.
traveling party,
yeah,
right?
Most
With
most
others
people,
that are traveling and partying as well.
So many
yeah,
people.
most people go on just floats and just float
Yeah.
down, drink, party.
They had
got
the canoes and
radios.
stuff like
yeah,
that.
we go on the canoes, but even like 3/4 of the group were just floating on the
Yeah,
canoes,
floating,
drinking,
yeah,
and having
drinking,
a good time.
having a good time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you literally just
Now you're not drinking.
no.
So what are you doing? So how you having
I
a
was
good
I
time?
was steering the canoe.
You steering the canoe?
Someone's got to steer that.
I
thing.
hear you. Hey, designated canoe
Yep,
driver.
always.
I hear you. Sage, you're on point, but you are.
man.
I mean, what What a good boy.
I still have a good time. So
No,
Exactly.
I hear you. I hear you. Believe me.
Some say
Keep it
Sage and I
that
are the
way.
life of the party.
Save you a lot of money and a lot of trouble.
yeah, water's a lot cheaper than a beer.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Not if you go to the convenience store and they're selling you $5 for one bottle.
Where's that? Up there? Is
Anywhere,
Are
just
they price
I'm
gouging?
just saying anywhere. Like when you go to those convenience stores and it's like $3 a bottle, and I'm like, dude, I can get a whole case for $3 at Walmart.
Or you go to a concert and you get that $9 water, and you're like, you know what? My saliva's not that bad. I'll just keep recycling it.
Been there. I've been there. Yes.
No, yeah, $9 a bottle of water.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Unbelievable.
At TD Garden, when Cash and I went to go see the Bruins play against the Capitals, it was like ridiculous. I got Cracker Jacks and a bottle of water for $9.
Jeez.
Cracker Jacks and a bottle of water for $9.50.
Buy me some peanuts and
The Cracker
Cracker
Jacks.
Jacks.
I'm gonna go broke.
I don't know if my pockets will ever
Never
get
come
back.
That's right.
It's ridiculous.
Because it's Rob by the home team.
Yeah, we should have home and visitors prices. What's up with that?
Yes,
How come we don't
that's
get
a good idea.
discount?
How about my boy does for Atlanta Falcons, man? Everything's
That's
$2, $4,
awesome.
$5, and his profit margin went up 29%.
Oh, it's awesome. It makes way more sense because
buy
now
more.
like you don't gotta bring as much to tailgate because like you can be like, all right, the money we're gonna spend at tailgating to bringing that food in is gonna
Yeah.
be just as cheap in the stadium, so might as well eat
There
while
you
we're
go.
watching it.
And
And you don't feel bad if you're paying $4 for a cheeseburger and you get two.
Yeah.
Or you're paying $2 for a hot dog and you grab 3 hot dogs and you grab a soda.
because
Exactly.
you expect
Blah, blah,
to spend that money anyway, so
Sure.
you're just gonna buy more and spend
Exactly.
pretty much the same amount of money.
Dude, hey, at TD Garden again, right? $9.50 for one slice of pizza.
That's crazy.
I can get I know it's Little Caesars, but I can get a large Little Caesars for $5. I know Little Caesars is not the best, but still, a large for $5 can
get
play it
two
to
for the
Sure.
a $9 slice. Granted, the slice is big,
So here's the
but
deal.
$9 is
So let's say eight pieces in a slice of pizza
Yep.
in
And
a
a
whole
large.
pizza,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
So look at the math.
Right, exactly.
It's $72. What would cost you $5?
exactly. It's
That
ridiculous.
is
It is a genius.
Capitalist market.
20 times turnaround, 15 times.
What'd you say was the total?
50 times.
Yeah, 9, 18. Yeah,
72?
Yeah, $72.
that's
You know?
72.
And a large is 5.
Yeah. They're making like 14 and a half times more than the other people are making
Sure.
per
That's great.
pizza.
That's
Per pizza. That's crazy.
Man.
Absolutely.
So your championship, like, what time do they crack the beers open? Your uncles?
Let's see, about a minute down the river. So that was like 11 o'clock in the morning.
11 o'clock? Okay.
Yeah.
So what time you waking up
4:30
in the morning?
in the morning.
So what takes you 6 hours to get in the canoes and go?
So wake up at 4:30. Everyone meets, and you try meeting 20 people. It's
Yeah, it's a shit show.
you meet at 5, and then you don't leave the house.
Oh,
till,
no, all right. I'm not
Oh,
talking
you
about
meet up there?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
It's a pretty far ride too.
It's like almost 4 hours, but we met up there at like 10:30. Unpack everything, wait for them to bring.
Takes
the
a bit to
canoes.
unpack too. Yeah.
Yeah, because you have to wait for them to bring everything down,
Yeah.
pack it up, and as soon as you're ready, we're all off. So,
It's free, right?
well, the canoe rental is the only thing. So if you bring a float, it's free. Just park.
No, you can leave the canoe wherever you want to. You have to bring it back.
You got to bring it back to a certain.
Well,
spot.
you can leave it wherever you want overnight. Like you could just pick a beach,
Yeah.
flip it over on that beach whatever beach you want, and then you sleep on that beach. But once you get to the end, you got to bring it to a certain spot.
Yeah, bring it back
of the
to a
river.
certain spot.
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys now do you guys spend the night there?
Yeah,
Okay.
yep.
We slept in the same tent last
In
time.
the rain
11. Was it raining?
the whole time. It didn't stop. It
Really?
stopped for like an hour maybe.
Now did that slow down the traffic on the river? Because Saga River has to be in cheese. I like this slow and low.
It's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah,
It's
it
such a
is.
good time, dude.
There
Such
was
a
a
good time.
decent amount of people still there in the
Yeah,
rain. I mean,
really.
once you get a buzz, I don't think people really
No,
care
no,
too
they
much.
don't. They don't. The water is the water, one way or
Yeah,
the other.
already
Right?
wet.
Now let me ask you a question. All right, so do you go from top to the bottom of the river?
Normally we do, but the rain was pretty bad, so there was an early drop-off point. But that was already almost 11 miles down the river.
And don't you you don't really know where you're gonna stay. You just see a spot and then you jump on it,
Exactly,
right?
yeah.
Yep.
exactly.
And some of them are private. Like there'll be a little sign in the back that says private beach. You have to pay like $20 a person. So we're like, nope, go to the next one.
Oh,
And
really?
then that one's got people. So you're like, all
We
right,
found a
come
beach
on.
for all like 26 of our cousins, like a pretty good size one, and we had
Yeah.
still had some room
Yeah,
left
we
over.
had a massive one, and there was already like 15 people, but they were way on the other side, and then we were over there. so it was good.
People are always nice over there. They'll throw you free drinks and
Yeah, I'm sure.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw a guy's nipple, and we threw him a shot. So.
Right.
there you go.
He said nips for nips,
Really?
and and not to say a woman showed her,
Really?
but definitely the
There's a
guy
lot
showed
of-
her.
a lot
I'll
of-
say
a
that.
lot of that going on.
Yeah.
All right. So, what's happening? So you wrap up around what?
We got to the end at 4:00. We left at 4, so it was.
So you left. So you don't. So you're not staying on the beach.
So we slept on the beach. We went from 11 to probably like 4 p.m. of just on the river.
Yeah.
We unpacked, set up camp,
Set up
slept.
camp.
Next day we left at like 10, 11, and then we
More
went,
river.
Yeah,
More river, more
and
river.
then we went till
Another beach.
3 something. No, then it was raining so much. We just went to our early drop off point, called the place, and they took the canoes from where we were.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but that was 11
Now, will
miles.
they give you a ride back to your car?
Yeah, they give the drivers a ride back to the car. and then you
Okay,
gotta
that's
bring
cool.
everything.
That's
so
cool.
yeah, it is good. It's nice.
Cool. Now, how was your camping?
Oh, it was awesome. I loved it. We were right on the. It was literally called Maine Lakeside Cabin.
Really?
Legit name
so,
of it.
So tell me about this.
That's a
What
very,
is it? A Maine Lakeside
Yeah,
cabin?
so I'm pretty sure how my mom found it because we usually go to Old Orchard Beach every year, but last year was closed because of COVID. They didn't have a carnival or whatever. So she looked up Maine Lakeside Cabin to try to find one.
And she found Maine Lakeside Cabin.
Literally found Maine Lakeside
That's
Cabin,
poetic.
right? It's good marketing ideas because it's like someone like her looks up Maine Lakeside Cabin because they want to go to
Yeah, banging
Maine,
and banging.
and
It's
it's
coming
right
up
there.
for us, yeah.
It was pretty fun. It was awesome.
So tell me
Moscow.
about what are you doing?
Chilling.
Now, is the water colder in Maine, I bet, right? A little bit?
Yeah, but I don't mind cold water, and I thought it was
Yeah.
awesome. So I was chilling there. We did rope swings.
I
swam-
saw.
Yeah, we went down the. You didn't see this, but we went down the lake, and there was like a cliff that we found last year. Me, Cody, and Cassius were jumping off of that. It was like 25, 30 feet. Nothing much, but it was still fun jumping off of that. And then one day we went to the the highest waterfall in New England. Yeah, we went there. It was a cool sight. And then there's like one spot super, super steep. You can climb down it and you can swim at the bottom. There's like spots to jump off of. So we swam over there. And then we did whitewater rafting.
Really?
So, yeah, that
How
was
was
awesome.
that?
Oh, it's awesome. Such a good time. Such a good time. Like you're just sitting in the big, big boat.
Did anybody, a boat or a raft?
Well, raft, yeah, but I call it boat, but yeah,
now,
raft.
Now, let me ask, did anybody get close to getting bounced off?
Yeah, a couple people bounced off, but they bounced in instead of bouncing out. You know what I mean? Because they had their like body weight in, so
Yeah.
when they fell in because you got some huge waves.
Really?
But the guy tells you, oh, you can jump in now. So when he said we can jump in, Cody like threw me in, so I threw in, and you're supposed to. So we just swim in, and I didn't expect it, but a wave just hits me right in the face. I was like, as soon as I opened my eyes, another one, and I just swallowed so much water.
Really?
Yeah, but then you just chill down the river. And
But you're wearing helmets and life vests,
helmets, life vest, bodysuit to keep you warm so you don't get cold, stuff like that.
right? Bodysuits
Yeah,
and everything, huh?
you can get a full bodysuit. You can wear the top, or you don't have to wear anything. I grabbed the top, and it like kept me really, really warm. My shirt was
so
pretty dry.
shrinkage is no problem for you.
Actually, the name of our boat was NVS, no visible shrinkage.
Really?
Yeah, because I was like, yeah, that was the name of our boat, NVS, because the guy was awesome, absolutely. Kyle, I know he's not listening, but shout out to Kyle and Maine Lakeside Cabin. He's from Ohio. He's actually a Cleveland Browns fan, so I was talking to him about that.
You apologize for that?
No, because I was like, yo, you remember when the Cavaliers won? He's like, oh, absolutely. It was like the first win in like whatever history. And he said he didn't like how a lot of the Browns fans start wearing their jerseys around. He's like, hey, you a Browns fan? Because he's like grew up as a Browns fan. They're like, no, I just like Baker. I just like Odell. So he doesn't like that. You know what I mean? Because people just grab their jersey when he's been a Browns fan
fans
for
out there
30 years
love-
of his
yeah.
life. Like,
Tortured.
literally,
existed.
30 years of his life. All this guy's known is doing that.
We got Felger and those other idiots whining about. We're talking about a Red Sox meltdown. After they lose 2 games in New York City in a pouring rain, some
Yeah,
bad
stupid.
calls. I mean, it's crazy. How matter of fact, watching them today, and I don't usually talk about that, but I took some notes actually. Kind of crazy. Kind of blew my mind. So, Saco River or Maine Lakeside Cabins? What would you like better?
Depends who I'm going with. If I'm going with all my cousins, I'm going to Saco because that was just so fun the first time, and I definitely want to do it again. But Maine Lakeside Cabin is also awesome.
So are you sleeping in beds? You sleeping in
Yeah,
tents?
beds we do. It's like glamping. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
a big cabin, but it's not even like it's a cabin, but it's not. Like upstairs was like 4 beds. Downstairs there was 2 separate rooms. So me, Cody, and a couple other people slept upstairs, and then my godfather and my dad slept downstairs in the other 2 rooms. And then Cash had his own cabin up top more. So yeah, it's beds, but
Cash smooth, huh?
Yeah.
He wants his own. Was he with his girl?
yeah,
Yeah,
his
no
his
shit.
thing was so
Attaboy.
nice. His shower was the
Attaboy,
craziest
Sage.
shower I've ever seen.
What?
So his shower was the craziest shower I've ever seen.
I
Like
don't want to know anymore.
in yeah, in that place that he had, it was such a nice spot. But it was a little bit off the
How
water.
much it costing you for one of those cabins for a night, you think?
It was cheaper to go Sunday to Thursday because that's like a weird time.
Yeah.
So I know they got a little bit discount, but I don't know how much it was. I'm not sure. They have like jet skis on the water and everything too.
Really? You like the jet ski?
We didn't get to do it this year, but last year we did. And it was awesome. I love the jet skis.
So recommend.
Definitely both.
Recommend.
Recommend
5.
both. 5 out of 5.
Saco. I've never been to Lakeside, but
Now, is there any law enforcement present at Saco at all?
no, technically there is, but I still haven't seen them.
Really?
Like, I've been told that there's
They're out there,
a
right?
fan boat that they'll come around, and if they're really like they're not strict at all.
No, they're
'Cause
chill.
apparently you're not supposed to have alcohol on it,
Sure.
But everyone knows what
Literally,
the rule is for. It's like saying, "Oh, don't smoke weed and Profile Rock."
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah,
why
yeah.
are all these
Why is
people
that
here?
the hot spot everybody smokes weed at? Huh?
I mean, they did, and maybe
Yeah.
they never. Never. My boy DC might be watching this.
I'm getting ready to watch that. I'm getting ready to watch that documentary tonight.
yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. I downloaded Epics to my phone, so we're ready to rock and roll. Okay, I got a question for you and Riley. These Olympics are imploding before our eyes. Soccer player today, females. Females take Olympic soccer much more seriously than men do,
100%.
right?
Yes.
Not even close.
Yeah,
Yeah.
big time.
Big time.
Yeah, this is their
Now, the
tournament.
Olympic soccer for men is like a junior varsity kind of event, right?
Yeah, I mean, same with the Gold Cup right
I
now.
believe, same thing. But I believe there's an age limit, right, for the men's.
I believe like
They don't take
25
23.
or
Yeah, something like that.
23,
23, 25. They don't
yeah.
take anybody over that for the
Really?
men's.
Yeah.
And there was actually just I know this doesn't have to do with COVID, but there was a game in Germany and somebody else, and the coach like stopped the game in the middle of it because one of the German black players was
Yeah.
getting racially abused.
Yeah.
So I like that he stopped the game because a lot of them.
And they walked off.
Exactly,
right?
they walked off and didn't finish it, and a lot of them they usually walk off, but they'll come back. But I like that they didn't finish it to like show them like, all right, we're serious about this.
We're gonna
Like,
get. We're
don't
gonna
be
get-
doing that.
Yeah, we're gonna get to that now. Soccer players, gymnasts, 2 basketball players today, track. Okay, NFL, 13 of 22 teams have reached the vaccination threshold of 85%. Major League Baseball, Red Sox aren't there. They're one of the worst. I mean, we had how many Major League Baseball games canceled in the last 2 games? 3 or 5. I mean, as much as I'd hate to say this, is COVID going to come back and cripple another round of sports for us and keep fans away? I mean,
I hope not.
I don't think so. I hope not. I mean,
I hope it's just isolated incidents going on, and it's just a few here and there. But because if we have to do another season of this, it's just gonna be.
oh, just
awful.
with nobody in the stands. Still, like,
Yeah,
it's-
I
that's a
can't.
big thing.
I know.
Now that we got a taste for the crowd back, pulling it
it's
away
gonna
again.
be it's gonna be cruel and unusual punishment.
Yeah.
But how are they going to pull this Olympics off, man? First of all, Tokyo, Japan, one of the most congested countries in the
Yep.
world.
should have
Okay?
moved it. I think.
What?
I think they should have moved it last year.
I agree.
But it's tough to like when you give that country that
Yeah,
that thing. It's tough to take it away. But
because it's years of planning. it's
Exactly.
10 years of
But
planning.
I know I completely understand what you're saying. Like they're so close together. It's not even their populations. They're always
Yeah, the
close.
population density.
Exactly. And when you see them on the trains and stuff, they don't understand like personal. They don't understand personal space. They're a lot different than Americans. Like they'll be on the trains like this, like. But people they don't know. In Americans, they try to like spread
Well, you
themselves
see
out.
how they live. I mean,
Exactly.
they live very tight quarters, not
Yeah,
wasting
yep.
space, which is a breeding ground. Let's face it,
For a virus,
for
yeah.
virus to get spread. Now, okay, let me ask you. Major sponsors have backed out. You know if Toyota backed out of an Olympics in Japan,
Yep.
that's serious. That's like Budweiser backing out of the Olympics in the United States or Ford.
Yeah.
I mean, this is like
Yeah, major.
this
major
is
sponsor.
getting.
Yep.
You know, how many Major League Baseball games got canceled over the weekend? I know the Red Sox did. I mean, it was 3 or 4 games got
Yeah, it was
canceled.
a few.
Okay. Now, lived it really, Eugene, in the service probably?
Yeah.
Marines.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. I know that they're very proud. I know that they can be very some
Different,
not difficult.
That makes more
Absolutely,
sense. Yeah.
yeah. But I know that they're very proud people. They're very industrious people. I want this to go across because regardless of any type of Olympics or any type of hate or shade people are throwing on them, okay, every Olympics will give you 5 memories that are going to last with you.
Maybe even more than that. Yeah.
Yeah,
even
but-
more.
5 minute, I would say. Yeah.
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 it's-
Great.
I mean, you can have story after story. Like I remember my first time watching Olympics was 1976. I was 5 years old, and I couldn't get enough of it. It's the first time where teams weren't rooting against one another, that all Americans were rooting for the same team, and it was like a blast for me as a 5-year-old, like to take in that concept.
Yeah,
you
it's
know what I
awesome.
mean? And but I'm worried about this medical situation that we're dealing with. You know what I mean? And it still blows my mind how people are on Facebook saying, "Oh, people get sick and die all the time." Not like this, guys. This is a pandemic, okay? This, the people at Eau Claire's Market lost how many of their family members? 3 or 4 of the family members. It happens. I talked to police officers who got this thing. They said they felt like they were dying for 2.5 weeks in bed. I know guys that have lost some of their speech, 55-year-old guys. I mean, it's easy to talk like that unless you don't know anybody. So what are your opinions on COVID and the seriousness of it?
So, for a while, I was very like, it's a flu, it's flu. And then, I grew up really close to Emerald's Market in
Sure.
Fall River. And the owner,
Yeah.
the daughter,
Yeah.
and the sister, they all passed away. And they were people we used to, we used to talk to we used to go
Sure.
every day in the summer, me and my brother.
Yeah.
That was the first, people close to me. And I was like, oh, shit. Like, all right, this is serious, because it was, the old woman, but it was also
Yeah.
daughter who was in the 40s.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough when the media's pulling both ways so hard.
Yeah.
Like, I wish we could just kind of, go right down the line and know just all the facts, none of the political stuff involved with it.
Sure. Yeah.
It's definitely a real virus. It's definitely
Sure.
affecting people everywhere. And it's scary not knowing when, half the people are telling you it's nothing, half the people are telling you you're going to die.
But
It's,
like fashion, like everything,
Yep.
right? Europe usually comes before us, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you saw them buckling up again, right?
that's what scared me.
Why don't we understand that this is the natural progression for political theory, for fashion, for music?
Buckle up. When?
What?
When did they start buckling up again? Like,
Like they went into like the world. Like the Euro Cup wasn't full capacity at all, was it?
no.
No.
I
mean,
I think what happened with the Premier League, because this is like, so they had no fans from August to like November, so 2020,
Yeah.
when it was like when COVID was like in its prime, we'll say whatever.
Sure.
And then from December, for like a few weeks here and there,
Yeah.
they went back to having fans. And then from there, from like January
Yeah.
to like June, it was full lockdown for everything. Like people couldn't go get haircuts, because I follow like a bunch. Like I listen to podcasts all the time. They couldn't get haircuts. They couldn't do nothing. And then recently, it's starting to open up again for them, like slowly. So we've been open up more, longer than
But
they have.
as we're opening up big time, they're retreating again because of the variant. That was more strange. What's the variant called again?
Oh man, I was just looking at it. I forget the name of the variant, but yeah, apparently
Which was
that's-
more prominent in Europe than it was in this country. Now
Mm-hmm.
it's starting to show its face in this country, and some of the issues. I don't know. It's just I mean it's like
Delta. My mom said
the Delta,
Yep.
the Delta variant. So It's going to be interesting. So right now, European sports are open, closed. Where are they?
Middle. Depends where you are.
Yeah,
Depends where you are.
certain countries.
In Europe. I mean, excuse me, in England.
England, it's
50.
yeah. Most things are not full capacity, but most things are pretty close.
Yeah.
right?
Also
If
depends
I'm
where
not
you are. Like
mistaken.
Chelsea, which is in London, had a good amount of fans. But if you went to Liverpool, Liverpool, it wasn't. They didn't have as many fans. So
Yeah.
like Wembley, the final that
Yeah.
England and Italy played, they had a lot of fans, but it wasn't 100% there yet. So it also depends where you are in England because they've been doing a good part. Like, all right, so this part's not doing. Like, let's say Fall River wasn't doing good, we're closing that down, and then London, you're looking good, so you can go. So
Yeah.
they're at like 50. I would say they're from 50 to 75, no 100 yet. But like
Hungary
like where Portugal
maxed
played,
out.
like 100%. Like they had literally almost 100,000 fans when
it was
at one of the
bunch.
games at Euros.
Sure.
So it
Now,
just
do you
depends.
think that because it was one of their first rodeos that it's so big there that they didn't have the courage,
I mean,
as
Could
people
play
are saying now?
It definitely could be. I mean, think of the money they made on wanting to see Portugal, Germany, and France play. Like,
I'll do quick math. So we said like what? I said 100,000. We'll just say because their tickets are actually not expensive as over here. I'm gonna say like $50. So that's like 5 million right there. But
and
that's
that's at 50. That's
at
if
$50
all
for
seats
all
are
of them are 50.
$50.
So 5 million you're looking at. So
But then you got people going out to dinner. Then you got people.
Yeah,
spending
Exactly.
money.
there's a
And this
lot.
is what like
it plays a role.
Olympics, like everybody says, how much it costs the whole city, but the benefits. I mean, look what the Olympics did to Atlanta. The Olympics turned Atlanta into a world-class city,
Yeah.
like this. Coca-Cola, CNN, all their companies blew up. It went. I mean, I remember going to Atlanta prior to the Olympics and going post-Olympics, and I was like, what was almost unrecognizable from
year
the
was this?
traffic. I was at Belmont Abbey from the. So you're looking at probably, I think the Atlanta Olympics were '96 maybe. Am I
okay.
right about that? Or '90?
I'm
94
not
maybe?
sure.
I'll look it up.
I won't. But
Atlanta Olympics. 96, sure.
one thing I do know is for like countries that are established, like that helps a lot. But then there are certain parts, like I remember when the World Cup was in Brazil, there was a lot of backlash because they were putting these huge
They're only going to
stadiums
be used once.
in the worst parts and then
Yeah.
only being used once. Like, man, if only you gave like a quarter of that to like
The poor people
to the,
around.
Velas?
Of course,
to the
yeah,
community,
of
yeah,
course.
and because there were pictures.
But that's Brazil has a history of corrupt politicians.
Yeah,
and,
it's
I mean, it's like half the food we donate to Africa. Most of the food never gets to the people who are starving.
Same thing in Brazil with the Copa Libertadores that just happened. Like a lot of the countries didn't want to take it because South America's not doing that well, and Brazil's like, all right, we'll take it. But a lot of the other countries were also backing out of the thing, so there was like wasn't as many teams, but there was still like a good amount of teams. So it's just I feel like it just depends where you are. It's just been hit in other places harder than it has hit. Like even in America, like there's some states where it doesn't look as bad, or some states it's like whoa, they're still like trailing behind with like how many cases they have.
Eugene's talking about my my Atlanta reference and what it did for a community. Unbelievable. I mean, unbelievable what it really did there. But like, I mean, they're worried about the Olympic villages. Are like usually the best place of all the Olympics. If you talk to the athletes, they all talk about the times they spent in the village with all the other athletes. It's a big party. It's a big support system. Most people are around the same age. Now the dream team didn't go in a village, even though they used to go party in a village. I mean, they're a little different, but most of them are there, and it's an amazing experience from top to bottom. You won't hear anybody. Talking bad about this stay there. The Olympic Village, also the site of the assassinations of the Jewish athletes in Munich, I believe, in '72. But that's where everything happens. That's where it pops off. That's now. Usually, anytime you get a lot of young people together in a party situation, sex becomes an issue, and after COVID, so the Japanese, for all their ingenious in business and forward thinking, they decided to counteract that by giving them cardboard beds.
yeah.
I'm watching Jalen and
What?
Jacoby today, and he's like, you think of Japan and you're thinking he's great. I mean, I'm like, you don't have to have sex just in a bed. Like Jalen Rose is like going off about this and like what is going on? You got Olympic athletes.
In a cardboard bed.
Ask your cousin.
Yep.
I'm not. That's just nuts. I don't understand how you do that. I think just another. Yeah, it's not comfortable. No way. But like keeping them isolated in pockets. Like, all right, the gymnast team, you guys stay over here. This is where you should stay. You know what I mean? Like the basketball team, you guys stay here. You can't leave this area. If you leave this area, you're out. Like keep them in an isolated with their
The protocol starts soon as they get there.
Like something like that.
I'd be very surprised if professional athletes stay in a village. I would think USA Basketball would have that team in some type of hotel.
Yeah.
They're obviously a little different, going there. They're adorned, especially the NBA. It's a worldwide brand and product. I don't know. I mean, it's my boy Greg.
Greg.
Smooth. Well, Smooth was out and about Thursday night, that's for sure. Now, so that's what we are. Is there any way you can see? Could you see a ban on this? But historically, no Olympics brings the country down.
Yeah. Yep.
It was a disaster for Jimmy Carter to cut the Olympics off against Russia. It was a disaster. I mean, at what time do you go? The health and welfare and mental health? And at what time do athletes say, hey, listen, for an Olympic athlete in a non-revenue generating sport, to give up an Olympic opportunity,
It's tough.
it's a life devastating
that's-
decision.
Yeah.
You
I mean, you
because-
spend your life trying to get to the
half
spot.
of it.
Yeah, half your life trying to get to the
Get
spot.
to that spot. Now, how do you walk away from it?
Play your own risk. I feel like that's what it.
Yeah.
That's what I know. I'm just like an 18-year-old kid, but that's what I would do. Just play your own risk. If you don't feel comfortable going to the Olympics because your safety's in risk, then don't go. But if Devin Booker, just using my example or whatever, Kevin Durant wants to go get their gold medal and knows the risks that they're going to take, then let them go. I think play your own risk, do what you want. I mean, we're a free country, so I think as America,
I agree.
you make the
Yeah.
choices for yourself.
Sure.
If the whole gymnastics like organization for America doesn't want to go, then
But what about coming home and your mother may be 65 years old and 50 pounds overweight? And then by going to the Olympics, you can put themselves in danger. You can carry it. Like, there's a lot of ripple effects that you got to think about.
that's where I think it falls under their own risk. I mean, I know it's not for them, but it's their family, but they know what they're doing. You know what I mean?
I know like the UFC is doing like when you fly to Vegas, you get there, you quarantine for a certain amount of time, and then you go out and then you come back, quarantine. Like if they can
So
figure a way
explain
out.
that to me. What's the UFC's policy? So are they locked so they can mingle with the masses?
So like, all right. So I'll use the Ultimate Fighter as an
Yeah.
example because Mitch Raposo was in it. When he flew out before the start of that, he flew out there and then he's in his own hotel room by himself.
Sure.
For
That's
a few
quarantining.
days, quarantining.
For what, a week?
For
10 days?
Whatever. Yeah, whatever
Okay.
the mandate was at the time.
What hotel they put him in, you know?
Uh,
I'd love to know what
a decent
hotel
one in
they put him
Vegas.
in.
But yeah,
I'm sure.
I can get the scoop on that.
Uh-huh.
So you stay there, and then now you're with your trainers and whatever small team you came with, and then
So you and your trainers are all in the same room.
no. You're
Everybody's
still,
isolated.
You're still isolated separately, and then
Okay.
you're in your small. So he had his striking coach, grappling coach, his manager,
So they're isolated
and
as well.
sparring partner, and they're all isolated separately. And now you come out, and once everyone's isolated for the event,
And they get retested.
now and you
if
get
they're
tested.
clean after 10 days of quarantining,
then
they go
you're-
out into the general public again or
No,
just their
I
bubble?
believe they're still because they flew in, and they go to the performance center.
So they're in a
And
bubble.
you stay pretty much in a bubble because when they were doing shows in Saudi Arabia, it was the same thing.
Sure.
Or not Saudi Arabia.
Because the bubble works.
bubble-
I mean,
clearly,
we see the NBA. It works
was
in the
no-
NBA.
no cases.
It's clearly working in the UFC.
Yeah, and that's the best way to do it. Now, obviously, it's tough to do it with all these countries, but if you can get, portions in, I mean, it's tough because you almost have to make your own small city.
What about
Literally.
And I know this sounds un-American. Okay. What about making the players get vaccinated?
No, I don't think so.
That's a tough one because
That if they say no, then just that. I mean, if they make, I think it's still not right if they make it a mandate. But if they do, then I think just if just using KD, just if KD says I don't want it, then he just doesn't. He just can't play, and they replace him with somebody who does want it. But I still don't think it's right for them to make it a rule. But I could see it
now,
happening.
certain countries for health workers, they're
Sure.
put a mandate that you have to get vaccinated.
Colleges.
Yep.
A
Yeah.
shitload of
Yeah.
colleges are doing
Yeah.
it, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
You got to do it for college, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah?
I'm,
Oh, yeah.
I'm not even living there too.
State schools, yeah.
I just have to go there to.
UC of
to go.
Alabama, no mandate for vaccine, which I was very surprised because it's such a big business.
Yeah.
But again, it's a southern state, and they're kind of rejecting the vaccines because, unfortunately, it's fallen on political lines.
Yeah. And
We don't want to go where we know the names. We don't want to go down. We've heard enough of them. Okay? But what they do is this. Mask and meetings. They make it to the point where you're like, just give me the vaccination because I can't live. You know what I mean? Like this.
yeah.
You know.
It's
league turned around and said, not even on an Olympic scope. What if they was like, oh, you can't play unless you're vaccinated? Then
I think that might listen to me. Only 13 of 32 NFL teams and networks are busting the NFL's balls saying, what is going on here? Let me explain something to you, okay? We are a month away from NFL programming.
Yep. Yeah.
That's
August.
Or mid-August.
Mid-August. Yep.
You know what I mean? That's like early preseason, right? Camps. Dallas Cowboys are in camp today. Were you guys aware of that?
I've seen Broncos stuff already. Yeah.
What?
The Broncos,
Broncos
have
are
been
in
in camp
too?
for like a couple
Well,
weeks now.
they've been
yeah.
doing what OTAs?
Yeah, stuff like that. Just
No,
little,
I think
little
training
Cowboys
camp.
started camp today, real camp today. Check that out, too.
Yeah,
I'm
Yeah,
bullshit.
Javier, can you check
Yeah.
the?
Okay. Now, what if an NL team says, fuck it, I'm not losing this television revenue. I'm not losing this. Everybody's got to be vaccinated.
Riley sounded protesting his vaccine.
I will let you handle Riley's vaccine, Rachel. We got our hands full over here. What?
They officially started.
2 days ago they
days
started.
ago.
Days ago.
Wow.
Okay.
All right.
So they're in camp. I thought I saw you
Yep.
that started today. So they're in camp.
Even better 2 days ago.
13 of 32 teams have not met
Yep.
their threshold. The Red Sox won the last. And one of the good things I did on Talk Radio today, what if they're a game or two up, right? They go for a big series
Yep.
against the Yankees or against the White Sox, and who's their big gun? They'll hit out with the J something.
JD Martinez.
JD Martinez.
Yep.
What if JD Martinez
Ugh.
still doesn't do the vaccine and gets 5 guys infected? And you are on the cusp of a playoff, a chance to win a World Series, all of it. What happens then?
But now, what if a vaccinated player gets it and then
Sure.
spreads it? Like,
Sure.
and then that's,
Great point.
and that also becomes a thing. Like Chris Paul was out
Yeah.
and he was vaccinated,
But, all right.
and that I feel like that hurts for the public's opinion on things too.
Well, I don't think that they guaranteed that. They said that you can
No,
get
no,
it.
they
It's
don't,
just going
and
to be
that's-
much milder.
yeah.
And look at the drop off in Chris Paul's play
Yep.
since he's had the COVID. I mean, I think it's been pretty significant, right?
I feel like the time off. I know COVID. We've seen players come back with like.
Jason Tatum.
Yeah, Tatum.
Well, I mean, you use the excuse for Cam Newton.
No, I know. I know, but I'm saying to break up his play, like from you're
he was
playing
on a
all
hot
the
run.
exactly. You're on a hot run, and it's like if we went to the gym, right, and I started shooting threes, and I make a few in a row, and then you're like, all right, stop. Now shoot 30 minutes from now. Like I get the COVID could definitely affect him because like we've seen Jason Tatum. He even said he was out of breath, and I mean, he's a better athlete than I'll ever be in my life. So like, but it's definitely there. But I also think the breakup in the play is a big point too. But
No, it breaks up your rhythm for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
And it breaks up your focus.
And you obviously do have
But-
physical effects too.
literally, yeah, it's
But a guy like Chris Paul, who his entire life is performing like the Energizer Bunny, and then you see him out there kind of like he's not the same dude. Now, listen to me, that could be father time too.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah,
what do they
he's
say about-
silently old too.
I mean, what do they say about? I mean, he's got a young alpha beast in Holiday who's not half as skilled, but more athletic, stronger,
He's got heart.
bigger, faster, that he's dealing with there. You know what I mean? But something has changed with Chris Paul.
Yeah.
And I think you have to take the corona in consideration.
Here's an idea. Get vax if you want. Don't get the vax if you don't want, but keep it private. If you don't want to play or go somewhere, don't.
And this is from you.
People are vaxxed, then
No,
Who's this from?
that's from Eugene.
Okay. Yeah, but here's the deal, right? And here's my problem with that. And on premise, I agree with that. But what if ownership makes you go? What if Nick Saban says you got to get vaccines? What if Bill Belichick says, "Hey, listen, I'm not playing this game. Get vaccines. You're not coming in the locker room," because it's going to come to that. Some head coach, some general manager, some team is going to say, "Hey."
unless it comes out that the general public does not even want the vaccine at all. Like you can't go from the standard that we're setting. You can't diverge from it just because you're the NFL, just because you're the NBA. If the public and media decided that this COVID vaccine is what everybody needs, you can't have your biggest leagues in.
What, not vaccinating?
It's not exactly.
No. They're going to go, listen, the big money, they're going to go with the doctors and the scientists.
I've seen a lot of the best athletes already doing it, like posting pictures on Instagram, of them
Getting the
doing
vaccine.
it. Yeah, I've seen a lot of them. I've seen Neymar, I think Christian McCaffrey, Michael Thomas, like some huge names like that. Like McCaffrey, I think he's the best running back in the NFL, and you got the guy over there getting the vaccine. So I mean, there's definitely people who have pushing power, like to influence the public.
Sure. I understand that, Eugene, but if you're on a team, right, and you're sharing a locker room that is, 4 times the size of the studio, that's maybe, 10,000 square feet or whatever it may be, and you're in the huddle with them, and you're on the bus ride to the game with them, now, does your employer have the right to mandate you to get vaccinated?
I don't think anyone has that right.
Okay.
To be, I mean, in like a
But just
freedom
remember, you
sense.
give up certain rights being part of that team. You have a
Yeah.
curfew.
Yep.
You know what I mean? You cannot smoke marijuana.
Yep.
Okay? You can't do.
But-
I think that's where it lands right there. Then don't play the sports, and I think that's the best idea. Like all the people going into it, like all the people on the Patriots, all the people
That's a harsh
on the Nets.
penalty.
So-
to
It
lose
is, but
millions of dollars.
if
But
you-
as an athlete, can you say like that's not in my contract? Pay me, and I'll go to another team. Like buy out my contract because I'm not getting it back.
Then
Then
we'll
buy out my contract.
then we'll have
and
then we'll have
I'll go
a
play in the
20
UFL.
a
But
2012
why do you have to buy it
NBA.
out, though?
Because I signed this and you agreed to pay me
When-
this much money.
when I was playing at Boston College, we were mandated to get flu shots.
Really?
Right? Oh, absolutely, mandated.
Oh, see, I didn't know.
Most Division I athletes are mandated flu shots. As soon as you get on campus.
Oh,
Now, what if you don't want to get a cortisone shot? Like they're like the business of sports,
Yeah.
which I have been in. Okay, they don't let you pick and choose.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They line you up. They line you up like cattle, and they're banging you
Yep.
in the shoulder and in the ass with flu shots, and everybody goes. I mean, that's it. Because if there were to be an outbreak, it could cripple the season.
So, yeah.
You know what I mean? And if 7 or 8 guys get it, then now what happens? Now the janitor's grabbing it. Now Now the coach of the swim team is grabbing it. Now the girls get it. Anytime you're and believe it or not, I went to Boston College. It wasn't the University of Alabama or USC, but all the athletes, they have a village within a village.
Yeah.
And it's usually the athletic complex, where the hockey locker room used to be 50 feet from us. You know what I mean? They're changing the ice to baskets, and we're going on to play. We get done practicing, they're changing it back to ice because they get a game in 5 hours. You know what I mean? You're sharing the weight rooms, okay? You're sharing the training pools. You're sharing the medical benches for guys that are hurt. I mean, you're driving to the airport in vans that are as big as this room, and you got 3 7-footers in them. I mean, a lot of these places don't have the luck. When my brother was quarantined at my nephew at the University of San Diego, they were so serious in California where if you're an athlete, you have to sign these contracts and pledges where you couldn't go out by yourself and go for a walk in a park by yourself with the mask on. You couldn't go there. Your food, your medicine, and your clothes were delivered in paper boxes every day. Now, that was California, who had a much more serious problem than we had here, okay? I'm just letting you know that big-time college athletes, right, they don't have this free will. Now, maybe a lot has changed since 1989, okay? Yeah. This is when, or when my brother was playing in 95, 96 to 2000, okay? But if they're gonna have a voice, it's gonna be today, because they have more of a voice today than they've ever had. But I know that's how it went down when I was playing. You know what I mean? And I didn't have a choice. I remember my mother saying, "Hey, wait a minute here." Call a trainer, says, "I read somewhere that you're not supposed to get more than 3 cortisones in one joint for a lifetime. Yeah. Why does my son have a couple in a year?" And then the doctors articulate it, it's a big hustle and blah, 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 you know what I mean? Yep. And that's what happens. So I don't think it's discriminatory if they sign a scholarship, if they agree to play in the Big East and the Big East has that policy. Like, I would be more with Riley saying, "Hey, listen, man, like we talked about changing rules of marijuana, right? If it's not in the union contract or the student union contract about the vaccinations, and I know for a fact we did not have flu shot because I got sick as fucking I've ever been after I got that flu shot, and I never got it again. But they told us, expect to get sick. That means the vaccination's working. But I got sick, but I just roll with it for 4 or 5 days, and I'm back in the mix.
You played with those sicknesses?
Yeah, I played through. I might have missed a practice, I didn't miss many practices. Maybe a practice because of the vaccine. This is like This is like I was actually shocked at they didn't give us shots in an intimate way where like one athlete walked into a closed door room with a doctor. We were lined up, basketball team, okay. Boom. What's the stuff you get if you get bit by a fucking raccoon or something? Tetanus shot. Yeah. This shot. We got like 4 or 5 different shots.
It's almost like coming to America.
Now some of them. Okay, I remember when the Portuguese and New Immigrants used to have that circle.
My dad has it.
Used to have that.
My dad has like 2 of those. Yeah.
The circle around with it was like 5 or 6 vaccinations
at
once.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, there was something else, some type of crazy other thing that was smallpox. I think we got vaccinated for.
Yeah, it's a bunch of.
But it was like you had to have it. There was no
polio. Probably.
It wasn't. I believe polio too back then. So yeah, I'm not sure now. And listen, it could be a different world today. I don't know. You know what I mean? But I just know that we didn't have free will at that place, and we were from an educational-based environment. Boston College, compared to some of the other schools that we played against, University of Pittsburgh was like night and day. Where you needed the top grades to get into BC, and And if you're in Pittsburgh, you need a hot beat. If you're a football player, you know what I mean?
Yep.
And that's why BC has a tough time competing year in and year out in those conferences like that because those athletes get privileges and they get passed in, easier than a normal students, but not as much as the rest. You know what I mean? To play at BC and Notre Dame or Northwestern or Stanford or Vanderbilt, you're gonna come correct academically for the most part to do it, and that's why historically. A lot of those schools have struggled in the past with that. So, yeah, I mean, this is a question that we're going to but I don't know if anybody's saying it's political.
No, he's just saying that in general.
Like, he's saying, like, diseases should it should be just medical. Like, it shouldn't have so much controversy around it, I think is what.
He's
not to put words
that.
in his mouth, but he's saying he has 7 scars from vaccines.
Scars from vaccines.
From
when they
to
came
America,
here.
Like,
Oh, yeah.
he got.
No, that's your.
That's
your.
my dad.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Now let me ask you a question. Right? I wonder what those vaccinations were for. I would love.
I could probably
to
look it
It's
up.
honestly, it's probably
Polio.
what we get as babies in our 5-year. Fact, like when we turn 5 before we go to school, we get
Yeah.
It's probably all those.
Now, do we have a? Did parents have a choice back
They
then?
do have.
I know they have one
I don't
now.
know about back then. I would assume just it probably wasn't as known.
Sure.
I mean,
Because parents are digging their feet and saying, "My kids are not getting vaccinated."
Yeah,
Hey, listen, and I respect that, man. Like, I respect that, but I also, if you join a team, right?
Yeah.
Don't you give up some individual freedoms and
no,
liberties?
you do, and
You know what
I
mean?
think
And you have a responsibility because, Riley, come in on this too if you don't agree. Like, let's face it, we've all been on teams before. Space is tight on the bus.
Yeah.
Space is tight in the shower. Space is tight in the locker room. Space is tight on the practice field from time to time. You're huddling up constantly, right?
Yep.
You're in film room.
you're sharing the same basketball,
Sharing the
football.
same basketball, football. Not everything's getting wiped down.
But I feel like there's teams that are on the opposite side of this, where there's coaches like, not that they don't care, but they're more relaxed about it. Like, I've gotten it before. It didn't affect me. If you guys want to play for me, I don't care if you're vaccinated or not. I just want to do this. Just know this is the risk you're
But
going to be
when
stepping
do
into.
coaches make the rules, though? In college athletics, the conferences,
But
and the
I'm
athletic
just saying that
directors will making it.
there could be even higher people like that, because as much as you're giving up freedoms too, they could tell you like, all right, we're like this. If you want to go over here, these teams in Cali are going to be more strict. Over here, we're not as strict, but you're giving yourself more of a chance of getting it, and you're putting yourself more at risk.
So
you know what you're signing up into, though. Like, as much as I'm giving up freedoms, like I play for my dad's team, I'm giving up freedoms that I know I'm locked in on Sundays. There's nothing else I can do. But I know what I'm signing up for up front. There's no, like, hiding behind, like, okay, so here's what it is. And then they're like, you signed it? All right, actually, there's a backside. You also can't do these things as well. Like, you know what you're getting yourself into.
But that's recreational.
I know, but that's the same way. It sounds stupid, but it's the same way over there. You as a person has the right to look at everything before you sign the paper to quote unquote sign your life away. Like, you know what you're getting yourself into. If you don't like what this college offers you, then don't go there. Go try to find something else.
Do you think that a school will go against their conference policy and to do it? I
think they'll try. I think
Never happened,
some
brother.
a school will try, but it's not going to be good for them because the conference is the conference in the end, and then NCAA is the NCAA. Like, it's such a big
And I
business.
think it's right because, like, okay, let's say Vanderbilt in the SEC is saying, we're about free will.
Yeah.
We're about this. Okay, even though they wouldn't be. They're probably more like a school like Mississippi State or more like a bigger state school who's state-based curriculum. You know what I mean? And they say, okay, listen, we're not making our players get vaccinated. We don't care if we meet the threshold. We don't think it's anything worse than common flu. And we're not going to go against these guidelines. And next thing you know, Alabama, Georgia, and Texas A&M are a game short in the BCF playoff system because their games against Mississippi State got canceled. When you join that conference or when you join that body, right, you have to come to some type of certain mutual agreements. You know what I mean? It's like joining the mafia. It's like joining the union. It's like, now let me ask you a question. Are union members required to get vaccinated?
I'm not sure. I'm
Look
not a union
look,
member.
look that up. That'd be real interesting to see that. If they would be required to.
Well, I feel like this is like a weird thing that like, as much as I was saying like you're getting yourself into, this you didn't. Like if I join, let's say like the Celtics in 2018 as a free agent or whatever, and then COVID hits like late 20 whatever it was, I can't remember because it's been so long.
Late 2019, but America.
Exactly. COVID hits in 2020. Like, okay, yo, I didn't sign the paper, and the paper didn't say I had to get this vaccine. You can't just spring this onto me. Now I have a decision. But a player who's coming in now, let's say whoever they get in free agency or whatever, it says on their paper, it's like a weird line to cross because it's like we've never seen something like this before come in the middle of a season.
I think where like the controversy would come from is, at least the flu vaccine has been around for a while.
Sure.
And these are new vaccines that we're still finding out. I mean, not to say that, people got Johnson & Johnson or Pfizer, one of these, but like you'll see it pop up like, hey, there's a small risk for this.
Yeah. There's
so
small risk in
everything.
Cheerios.
Yeah, literally.
But I think people are still a little nervous that it's not.
Because it was rushed.
It's.
But people don't realize how much these things have been regulated. Yeah. Is your industry regulated at all? You must have OSHA come in, right? Or
OSHA, ISO
control,
9000,
ISO 9000,
all these,
Like these people, it's tough to get away with that. Like
you can't. Yeah,
can't.
It's.
I mean, in a real world, when you're really in regulation, it's serious. Now, I'll tell you something right now. I would think long and fucking hard before I get a flu shot again. Mm-hmm. Because I think that flu vaccine made me sicker than the flu has ever made me. And that's real talk.
Yeah.
Now, I could have been a freshman in college. I could have been without my own bed, in my own shower.
Yeah, so
and
everything was worse
comfort,
than it was.
And, and without my grandmother's chicken noodle soup, you know what I mean, across the street.
Mm-hmm.
But I was sick as a fuck.
Yeah.
When I tell you, and I have sworn that I'm never getting a flu shot again.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if I was a public school teacher, or if I was a high school basketball coach, and the athletes was looking at me saying, listen, man, this is kind of way of the world now. Yeah. Would I do it? I would do it begrudgingly, out of the safety of others around me.
Because this is what you have to do. And
this is where the world's taking us. Like Riley said, like being caught with his pants down. Like, listen, I signed up for this shit. Yeah. But 2 years before COVID came.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think their answer would be to you, Kobe, listen, well, call your union rep and make sure they address it at the next agenda. And this is an issue for your union to fight, not for you. Because when you join a union, right, you got to give up some personal freedoms for the will of the majority.
Yep.
But it says, generally speaking, with the exception of religious and medical accommodations, there's no legal restriction on an employer making the decision to mandate that the employees receive a vaccination.
So the employees can do it legally.
Yes. But
Okay.
unless
Okay, yeah. That's interesting. I don't see that happening because everybody's having a tough time getting workers anyway.
That doesn't make sense because they're saying that as a government we can't mandate a vaccine, but if you work in a union which is under the government.
Well, no, it's not
Well,
really that's
no,
under
because
government, but
it's like if you own, all right, like say Stop and Shop can't tell you that you can't not wear a mask, but Maplewood Mini Mart could because it's a smaller, he could say this is my thing. Like I personally,
No, they have the right to refuse. Any
that-
business
that's
has a
what I'm
right to
saying.
refuse anybody.
yeah, but like
Like they can literally throw you out because they don't like the way you walked in the building.
Yeah.
Very broad. Like you see bars and convenience stores and places. We reserve the right to refuse anybody.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Now a place like Stop and Shop would have a tough time cherry picking because they could open themselves lawsuit if they throw out 3 fat ladies who do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It would be as the stakes get higher, most people defer to public
to
safety.
the next,
Because they have more risk and their lawyers and their insurance policies dictate this to you. All right. Do you think the Olympics go on as planned?
Yes.
Not as planned, but I think the Olympics go on. I think it's going to be maybe a chance for people who wouldn't be on that stage to shine bright on that stage.
Sagey, baby,
to
that's
get-
why I love ya.
to get a
Shine
little
some
light,
sun, shine some sunlight onto this.
Yeah, I think we'll get a superstar pop up.
What are you looking forward to?
Honestly, I was a little against it at first, but I want to see how the women's track team does for Sha'Carri Richardson. Like, I want to see if we get, personal bests out of the other members of this team because their
think
top
so?
dog wasn't there. Because I know,
You think they care about her enough?
yeah, because as a track athlete, there was a day, I mean, it could be.
Use the analogy. Use the analogy. Go
There's
ahead.
one of two things that happen. You either have the worst run of your life because you're thinking about this,
Or the best.
or you have the best.
Sure.
And
And usually it's the worst.
Usually
but
it's the
every
worst.
once in a while,
you
can
get
channel that feng
big,
shui.
and
Sure.
someone. All it takes is one person to have that big. If 3 people run poorly in a single event, like a 100-meter, but one of them, has a fire lit on their backside and they take off, USA wins, and now the whole team looks
Don't we
great.
usually dominate women's track anyway, though? I mean, is there a question?
USA
I don't know,
USA
unless
has
it's
had
my
a
fault,
lot
I
of
don't
personal
believe this.
bests. So I was looking, and USA has like five of the top few personal bests for, I think it was a 100-meter.
The Russians going to these Olympics? Are they going? Are they allowed? Are they still banned?
That's a great
is
question.
a-
We'll get you
look
an
that up,
answer in a
Javier.
second.
But I think
What are you looking forward to?
What are you looking
basketball, just because I want to see how the All-Stars gel together. I think they brought a good team, not as good as it could have been in recent history. And some of my favorite Olympic memories is like the 2012 team, the
Paul George breaking his leg. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, come on. No, but the 2012 team, I loved watching that growing up.
Oh my
2000
God, LeBron.
Yeah, exactly. LeBron, Kobe,
Kobe,
all of them.
Melo,
KD,
Kevin Love.
Anthony Davis.
being the
Yeah,
college
exactly. See,
player?
Anthony Davis is the
Dude.
young dude. Like, it was just, I love watching the basketball because it's so many people, and it's just cool to see them like dominate all the time. I
That
know.
was our version of the dream team.
Exactly.
We never got that.
And I
big
honestly think
moment.
that's probably like the second or top 3 best USA team of all time. Because like, if you break it down, that team is so talented.
And
Like,
there's Hall of Famers all over it.
I think almost all of those players, minus Darrell Williams, could hit the Hall of Fame. If I look at the list, there's probably like 2 or 3. But I think
Darren Williams and maybe Kevin
Blake-
Love won't make it.
I could see.
But
Kevin Love's out, but we're talking about
in terms
2012.
of,
He was on the 2012 team?
I'm like not. Tyson Chandler was on.
Oh, yeah,
that
he's
team.
not making it.
But I'm pretty sure Kevin Love was on that 2012.
Blake
team.
might have been on that team, and I don't think Blake.
I don't think.
Let me look
Blake
up the
was on
roster right now.
2012.
2012.
For Russian athletes,
Yep.
under certain sanctions and criteria, Russian athletes will be able to compete
So-
as neutrals.
So Russian
As
athletes
neutrals.
can compete as neutrals.
Flag,
So the nation of Russia is not competing, but the athletes
All right.
can compete.
So I got the roster. Yeah.
I
Go at your own
like
risk.
that because the best athletes are still performing, but they're not waving that banner with them.
Dude, hey,
I mean, it's
this list
it's
right
a
here.
different way to do it.
I'm looking at like 3 guys that are not a Hall of Famers out all time. I think
On
so.
2012?
So Tyson Chandler, I don't think makes it. KD obviously, LeBron obviously, Westbrook obviously, Darren Williams doesn't think he
No,
makes
he's
it.
a great player, but
Iguodala
Andre Iguodala
could make it. I don't think he's a surefire no, but he could make it. Finals MVP, 3-time champion, went to the finals with the Heat.
Finals MVP could get him in. I'd probably say late vote.
Yeah, definitely not first.
All right,
Maybe
then-
last ballot.
Then you
Maybe
got
last-
Kobe, who's already in. You got Kevin Love, which is another one I think,
He should. I mean, he had a
walking the tightrope.
long.
By his numbers, he may get in.
especially winning as a Cavalier. You know what I mean? As a top 3
Who do
best
you put
player.
in? Aguadala or Lowe?
Wow, that's a hard question. I would go Iggy as well. But I think Love
But
is
Lowe's probably had a better career, numbers wise.
And then we got Harden,
I
who's
think.
first
What,
ballot.
is this our team or what are we doing?
2012.
This was the 2012.
Because I was saying this is like my favorite memory as Olympic. Because so Harden, Paul, obviously, Anthony Davis, I think will make it, and then Carmelo, I think is gonna make it. So you got
There
we
was
said
like
Darren
nine
Williams,
Hall
Tyson
of Famers.
Chandler, and then we said
Iggy.
Iggy and Kevin Love could be. So we got 1, 2, 3,
only
4,
four people
5,
on that team.
6, 7, 8 Hall of Famers with 2 that could be with Iguodala and Kevin Love. So almost 10 Hall of Famers on that
Sure.
USA basketball team. So
Do you think USA wins this year?
yeah,
I think so. I think they'll
wipe
finally
the floor.
kick into gear.
Wipe
After,
the floor with
after
everyone.
that slow start, because
Exactly.
I
It takes time, dude. Try sending like all of
Exactly.
the best players like into
Ricky
one thing and just be
Rubio,
like, all right,
Marc
play together.
Gasol and Paul Gasol and those Spaniards have been playing together for 20 years, no joke.
Yeah. Yep.
And they take that shit seriously.
Yep.
That's like death before dishonor. Their national teams first. Their pro teams wait for them.
A lot of the things that I think basketball has stuck with me. Eugene told me is like usually the teams that have the best players in basketball are gonna win.
Sure.
And I think that USA
question.
basketball probably has like 4 of the top 5 best players at the Olympics.
Without question.
So you're saying
So-
Giannis is that guy? Or
Well,
Is
no,
Giannis
I
gonna
don't think
play
Giannis
with
is even
us?
gonna play because he's
he's
going to
not-
the
he's
thing.
not in there,
Luka's the one that I would throw in there.
Luka,
Yeah.
And then you go
thought-
KD, I think is probably the best player at the Olympics for me. And then look at the team. I know Devin Booker's on the USA Olympic team. It says he's on it, but I don't think he will make it because of how far the series has went.
Let me tell you something. If he wins an NBA championship,
And an Olympic-
I don't think it's going to happen. And
he
he
loses, I
leaves
don't think
Kendall Jenner in bed saying, honey, I got to go take a 25-hour flight to Japan and go live in a bubble with 100 dudes. He's a better fucking man than I am. I'll tell you that right now.
They also have Damian
Excuse me,
Lillard.
honey. I gotta
Yeah,
go.
I got-
I gotta go.
gotta go be with
I
the
gotta
guys.
go. 24-hour flight. Wow.
What was
Yeah.
interesting is the Olympic team recently, Kevin Love and Beal got
Yeah, that sucks.
substituted out for Keldon Johnson. He's a up
Yeah.
guy from the Spurs. Pop, obviously that's
Yeah.
he actually contributed the last game and with a lot of energy. If you didn't see, he was cutting to the rim.
But they still have Jason Tatum, Chris Middleton, but who else? Damian Lillard, like I said. Like
I saw you scroll by JaVale McGee.
Yeah,
Don't forget
JaVale-
about
Yeah, how the
McGee.
fuck did JaVale McGee make that?
he's still
shit?
he's
That I was gonna say
Yeah,
Yeah.
Kevin Love went out for McGee.
Zach LaVine,
close to this USA Olympic basketball.
Drew Holiday,
I want to see how that team works. The roster, the way the roster's constructed, they have like
Draymond.
solid big men.
yeah, Draymond.
Paul Gasol eating you up. He's 41 years old.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
he,
You
yeah,
have,
you
first of
got
all, he's
body
in
on him.
unbelievable shape. You see the
you know what team he
was
plays
in?
for?
Do not take nothing away
Yeah.
from Paul Gasol.
No, but did you see the shape he was in?
Bam Adebayo.
Hey, no fat on his neck. Did you see
Yeah,
Paul?
yeah,
did you see
I've
Paul
seen.
Gasol?
You know what team he plays
yeah.
for?
At 41.
He plays for Barcelona.
Who does?
Paul
Paul
Gasol.
Gasol.
Oh, yeah, oh,
Yeah, and they just won the championship over there too.
Yep.
No, Paul Gasol is he's gonna leverage this into 2 more years in the NBA.
Yeah, I mean, Luis Scola is still playing. I don't know if you guys saw
Well,
Luis
yeah,
Scola.
Argentina, unbelievable player from
and
the Spurs.
he looks really good still.
Sure, yeah.
I mean, he's got the salt and pepper hair
You gotta,
going.
you gotta remember about the international shelf life, right?
It's different.
You don't have to play 80 games.
It's only every 4 years.
What do you play like? Maybe 20, 30 games in like a year period, exhibitions, qualifiers.
Probably less. I
Yeah,
would think.
because the FIBA World Cup,
But
how
they
often is
probably
that?
get these old men going now.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
Like the speed team probably plays Barcelona in a
So,
friendly
yeah,
or
and most of
something
them
like
are still playing a little bit for a club team
Like,
overseas. Still.
Paul Gasol could not play a 2-cramp season NBA with extra games and then come in and play Olympics
No.
like Kevin Durant is doing right now. He does at 41. You can't do that.
Jason Tatum as well.
But if you pick your speed and say, "Hey, listen, I'm gonna put a country first, okay?
Yep.
I'm gonna lay off Olympiacos. I'm gonna lay off CSK Moscow. I'm gonna lay off against Mikel Tel Aviv. I'm gonna lay off Galatasaray or Bella, whatever the fucking crazy
Galatasaray.
Yeah,
Galatasaray.
Fenerbahce, all
I'm gonna lay off Bologna. I'm gonna lay off Real Madrid. I'm gonna lay off fucking Benfica. I'm just gonna chill and I'm gonna play my countrymen. We got a headquarters. I'm gonna go to the beach every day. I'm not gonna leave my family. Now that's what's up. So could they go on a run?
They could.
Absolutely. The United States team doesn't want to see Spain. They don't want to see a team that has been there before
Yeah.
in an elimination game.
Even Australia. Australia gave us some trouble before because
yeah.
they've got some
Canada,
decent.
Argentina.
Yep.
Argentina.
Argentina.
Is Ginobili playing?
I'm
I
thinking
don't-
maybe retired. That's why.
Yeah.
Like
he-
completely. So
Yeah,
don't
because
know.
I haven't heard anything about him.
Yeah, I haven't. And Argentina just played, so I don't. And I didn't see him anywhere.
Yeah, it's just former professional basketball player.
all
So
right,
yeah,
How much, Mike, do we trust these exhibition games, though?
not much at all.
Not much.
Okay, well. See, I have a different
Yeah.
thing, man. Listen to me. My father told me a long time ago.
Ginobili's 43, by the way.
Anytime they're keeping score, and there's 2 referees there, you play to win,
Yep.
right?
I mean, Herm Edwards, you play to win the game.
Yeah,
say it all the time.
I think so. I I don't ever think losing is a good thing. Even teams that tank. Because here's the deal, right? All right, you're perpetually losing and you're tanking because you want to recruit draft kicks, but how much innings does it take to get that culture out of you?
Yeah, because it's tough. I mean,
How much does it take? How much does it take to do that, man? And momentum and winning and losing is a slippery slope. You know, two steps one way or the other way are a big fucking deal in this stuff. And like I say, I mean, I want to win everything. Like if I get a team going into the Super Bowl, okay, and they're undefeated, I'm not resting my guys for 2 weeks before they play. I'll give them 1 week because their bodies. I'll give them the bye week and 1 week because their bodies are accustomed to that because that happens for them once in the NFL season. But am I gonna? But if I'm 14-0 and the competition is 11-4, am I gonna sit my guys out for the last 2 weeks of the regular season and then have a bye week? I mean, somebody did that this year, right? It was like the cumulative of 3 weeks that they hadn't played.
Yeah, because it was like the bye week, the week before the week. So the bye week, like say their bye week was 10. Then it was I think it was the Chiefs. And the week before the last week of the season, they played the Chargers. They lost, and then they had another bye week because they were the number 1 seed. Yeah. So they had like a cumulative of like 3 weeks, but it was almost like a 2-week bye week because the week they took off against the Chargers.
And then there were some of the rescheduled games because of COVID.
Yeah. Yeah, don't even get me started.
And then they would switch your bye week, and then now you got a game.
Yeah, and I think that's why I think that's why the NFL could work this year because we did it back when COVID was I think at its worst back then, and like less people were vaccinated. So if more players are vaccinated, I know it's not what the threshold should be or whatever, but if more people are vaccinated, I think it's going to be working a lot easier. You know what I mean? Because like you had like how many players were vaccinated in the season? None?
No. I mean,
I would
they
say
didn't
none.
have a vaccine
Exactly.
until-
So none, and they got through the whole. I mean, they got through it. They pulled through it. They had some things. The Broncos got screwed over. The Chiefs had a couple of things. Whatever. I think it could be easier now, and I think as much as it might be coming back up, players getting vaccinated, it helps that some of them are. It's your choice. Cole Beasley was getting in trouble for that.
I don't see why he's getting in so much trouble for that.
It's his choice.
But I mean, if we can get more isolated incidents and not breakouts, then because I can't do another season of any sport having all these breakouts and
exactly. But I think I don't hold much to the Nigeria game because as much as they want to win, I think the Nigeria wants it a lot more than America because America doesn't even it's just an exhibition game. Like if we lose,
because we're supposed to win.
Yeah, exactly. We're supposed to win. But if it goes to the Olympics, they're gonna play so much harder because we're in the Olympics now. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, not to bring it back to soccer all the time, but did you see what France looked like?
Yeah,
because they were supposed to win it.
Exactly.
And then
it could come back and bite you. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think the exhibition factor, people got too hung up on wow, they just lost to Nigeria. It was their first game together. I know they practiced, but have you seen the videos of the teams practicing? It's just one-on-one drills.
They're just having a good time. Yeah,
exactly. I mean, and they're gonna kick it into gear once they know the gold medals at the end of the line. They're gonna kick it into gear, and then talent should just take over.
I still think that at some point they should have kicked it into gear in that Nigeria game, because. I guess that's me being a Celtics fan and watching them all year just play with no energy until right at the end. So, but because Nigeria had something to prove.
But look now we're talking about it, right? If they didn't win, we're not talking about that game because who cares? The USA is supposed to win. They just won the USA just won a game last night or a couple of nights ago, and we're not talking about it because. We don't care. They're supposed to win. But now Nigeria knows, yo, look at us. Everybody's talking about.
We just beat
you see
USA.
that block we did on KD? Everyone's talking about this shit.
Yeah, I mean that's
both.
That's the thing. Yeah, if you let these smaller teams, well, not even small. Nigeria's got a decent. I mean, their team looked decent.
They have 4 or 5 NBA players, I think, too.
Yeah, so if you let them. If you let them get a little bit of momentum and a little bit of confidence, and if that can kick them into gear, then, I mean, it's scary for what that could do. Imagine if we let Spain win.
Yeah,
and then And then they get that confidence and they kick it into gear, and now we have to chase.
I think another thing that got into the head, I think it was Bam or somebody else. Did you see that he was available to play for the Nigerian team and he didn't choose it? So like I feel like that could have been in his head and like got messed up the team. But I'm not worried. I think they're gonna do fine. They have so much star power. I mean,
They should.
Tatum,
Not to do
Lillard.
the should win, but they should win this.
Yeah, 100%. If they don't win, I'll be super.
I'll be
disappointed. Because I even told my friend that he said, "Oh, I don't think they're gonna win." I was like, "Yo, you could take every other team. Like, if any team other than USA wins, I'll give you the money. If USA wins, just take me the money." I mean,
Yeah,
you're getting like what, 13 teams, and I have one team. That's how confident I am.
When the game starts, like when the Olympics start, it's gonna be hard for them to look at a game and be like, okay, well, we're about to lose. There's no way they're gonna let.
KD steps it up and he does his like game. What game was that? Game 6 against the Bucks, where he scored like 48 points or
As long
something.
as it doesn't airball at the end, we're good. 'Cause, yeah.
No, I have my faith in him. I definitely have my faith in him.
Our team, when they buckle down and actually play,
Could have still been better.
Yeah.
Like the selection.
oh, definitely. But I mean, again, it's one of those seasons. You have COVID going on, so some guys might have been a little iffy for that. You have this compact season that we just had. I mean, some people like KD, he was injured for a decent amount of time, so he didn't play all those games in a confined spot.
Yep.
And he was able to get some rest in between. So you get the best that wanted to do it. And again, these are the guys who want to do it. So you're gonna see a lot from them.
I think even this team as an NBA team would, like the stars that they have, like this, like as a big three, like in Lillard, Tatum, and KD, they'd probably win a championship like
Exactly.
that. And that's where I think that's where like it changes. 'Cause, like if you can win an NBA championship with, I think they could Tatum, Lillard, and KD.
Kevin Durant.
Then I think they should be able to win a gold medal with a supporting. If your worst player is an Olympic player, then like
you're doing something right.
exactly.
Yeah.
So that's why I think like.
But the
they should be
pressure
good.
of not wanting to be that other NBA team that lost the gold medal
Yep,
can be crippling.
it can.
Yeah, it could.
And we've seen what the free throw line has done to Ben Simmons.
Oof, that thing's moving.
We've seen what the French, Grammy's watching. Is that Eileen?
Yes.
Nice. Good. Does Grammy have a T-shirt?
Yes, she does.
Yeah, she does.
Nice. So the pressure of it, all that. Who do we like tomorrow anyway? Any you guys still riding Phoenix hard or?
Man, I'm gonna.
I would love to,
I'm
but-
gonna put the rest of my faith into Phoenix and try to give him everything to get through that.
I think it's
But
done.
I think Birdie's onto something with the down 2-0, come back 4-2, same as 1970 when they won. So,
Yeah, he said it in 6.
yeah.
I think it's over too as well. I love Phoenix. I want them to still win. I really don't want the Bucks to win, but
What
I think
jumps
it's over.
out of the physical strength of Milwaukee jumps out of the TV at me as being much more imposing than Phoenix's.
Yeah, because
Like loose balls, like a shoulder from Milwaukee, they're getting there. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
If they both, I mean,
they're not 50-50 balls anymore. They're 60-40
40 balls.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
And that makes a huge difference. I mean, when Chris Paul turns the ball over, which he rarely does,
He gets to take it from middle lane like he did.
and boom.
Booker
I mean,
loses the ball. 20 seconds left.
What was Holiday thinking throwing an alley-oop to Giannis?
That was awesome though.
Listen
Wow.
to me. You're going to see that highlight for 50 years. You know that,
Years.
right?
And the block
Years.
too. The
Yeah.
block that Giannis had before.
You're going to see that alley-oop dunk in that box probably for a long, unbelievable play. Can you imagine listening to that on radio?
Giannis said that
I
he was
wish.
yelling at him. He was like, "Throw it, throw it," and that's what Holiday was saying. He kept yelling at me to throw it, so I just threw it up there. But I think something that gets undershadowed a little bit was Chris Paul. If he doesn't foul him there, there's still a game to be played because if he doesn't foul him, it's only a 3-point game with like 17 seconds left. Now you have to hit a 3 with 17 seconds
Does your
left.
brain process that? Though,
No,
as
it
you're
doesn't.
coming
I'm
back?
not throwing the loss on him. I'm just saying, just not if you don't touch him. I get what you mean though. Moving that fast, like you're trying to maybe make a miss because Giannis is not a good free throw shooter. But we're playing ifs. But that when I saw that, I was like, oh man, if Chris Paul didn't touch him, they could have had another play. But that was an amazing play. Can't take nothing away.
No, that was awesome. I mean,
The fact that Giannis had to, he almost hit the rim.
Yeah, it was way up there.
they,
Let me tell you about this young man, Giannis, okay? I tip my cap to him 100 times over. He's not a perfect basketball player. There's a lot of guys that are more polished. But I'm telling you something right now, when it comes to this,
He
and
wants
what's
to win
below
now.
your waistline, okay, and courage, he's got it all.
Yeah, he's
got it all. He's got it all.
He's slowly turning me.
Well, below the waistline, he had to tinkle twice before. You heard him say
What
that?
again?
Yeah,
Yeah, he said, oh, so why'd you leave? The reporter said, so why'd you leave the game early on? He's like, so how do you say it in a American, the polite way? I had to tinkle, and that's what he said. And game one, I had to tinkle, and then he said he had to leave the bathroom. So below the waistline.
Yeah, but no, I mean everyone knows that I'm not a Giannis fan, but
Neither am
man,
I.
watching
Well,
him
how are
play,
you not a fan, though? What do you mean? Like, you don't like his game, or you
yeah,
don't like his
game,
person?
his game. No, as a person, I've never
Him on the
disliked
court,
him.
yeah, as well.
I've always really respected him as a person. But on the court, I thought he was overrated in terms of how unpolished he was and how he would travel every play and he would just shoulder down, truck through people like a running back. But if he's gonna win a championship, doing it to some of the best players in the world, maybe he's onto something that I'm not.
His will is very,
And
very powerful.
And he wants to win.
His will.
So.
After he got MVP, Kobe tweeted him out. He's like, "Good job, Giannis. The championship next." And here he is.
Well, he got MVP in the regular season again this
No,
year?
no,
No,
no.
not
He was
this
saying
year.
back to back, 2019 and 2020, he got MVP.
Okay, yeah.
Back to back.
Yeah, and Kobe.
That's
told
tough
him
to do though.
championships
Back
next.
to back MVPs.
Championship, the championship may be next. You know, I mean, put it this way. They could win Game 7, but you would have to think Phoenix was up big. Yeah. Okay? The way they lost at home. Okay? They come back in the game and they still get beat. They get beat on one of the most prolific highlight plays going. They said that the Bucks flight, there was no party and no hooting and hollering, no yelling going on, and that shocked the shit out of me.
Well,
Because if you know something about the pro culture, they party the most on the planes.
Yep.
Because that's when they got truly by themselves with their teammates without any paparazzi, without anything
Yep.
doing.
The only-
So they're getting down on the plane, believe
Yeah,
me.
because the only cameras are the ones they have on their phones.
Sure.
So no,
It
yeah,
is.
Yep.
Yeah. So I mean,
But
this is-
I believe it because Giannis, like, if you watch his interviews, I've been watching him. He's like, they're saying like, oh, how many times have you seen the block? He's like, only once, and the only time I ever seen it was right before this next game when we had to do film study. So he's like, oh, if you keep looking at back of your own plays, you're just boosting your own ego, and ego's not good. And that's what he said. Like, I love that he says stuff like that, but just on the court, I'm not a fan of. Not really a fan of his, but I love that he's like that because that's
you don't
so
think
nice.
that he's like a ballerina as much as he's a bully out there?
A little bit. I don't like his mouth either. Him complaining a lot. It's just
Who doesn't?
a lot.
Riley?
I hate that though. I can't stand like
Who doesn't?
At his
I
size.
think it couples with the way he plays. And now, if he
Exactly,
was just
thank
getting
you.
hacked all game, that's
Exactly,
one
yes,
thing. But if
yes.
you're inviting the contact,
Yep. And then
I
complain.
mean, if I run into Riley every play,
But you understand that big guys get hit harder and hit more than
Of
anybody
course.
else.
Yeah, because,
like
I
when
mean,
you have
you bump
announcers
them
that
and they
don't
don't
watch this
move.
game. Like if you're a big guy, you get away with a lot. People get away with hitting you
yeah,
a lot more.
because your hit
Yeah.
doesone affect them as
Talk to
much as
Shaq about-
someone else.
talk to
Exactly,
Shaq
hack a
about
Shack. I mean, that's.
Yeah.
But it's just the way he plays is he invites all that contact. Like not just contact, but he's coming into you where you're gonna get injured if you're not, bumping him too. So for him to complain as much as he does, playing
that's
the
the
way
only
he
thing.
does, I think that's where it kind of puts me off a little bit. And he travels almost every play.
yeah, he travels a lot.
So he travels a
But
lot.
the modern NBA, they don't call a lot of travels unless it's super obvious. Even when it is super obvious, where LeBron holds the ball,
How many
walks
steps
the
do
5
you get?
steps.
I play basketball my whole life. I don't even know.
So
Two and a half?
It's supposed to be 2, but they've been exposing the gather step rule.
Euro
where
step.
So the Euro
There's so
step
many
is
steps.
fine because that's 1,
The
2.
Portuguese step,
But the first step,
South American step.
where you pick the ball up, doesn't count as a step anymore. Like the way we're always taught is when you pick it up, that's step 1. Step 2,
So
and
and
you
I
go
go.
up.
So you
Now
pick
it's-
it up.
Now that doesn't count.
That's a free step. You position yourself. Then
One,
it's
Now
two, four.
1, 2 from there.
But then you could do a Euro, which gives you an
Yeah, so
six-
people do like double Euro steps where they're going this way, 1, 2, and you go up with them, and they come around that third one, and
Yes, it's like
or they're pivot.
So you guys want to see an NBA game with more traveling? Cool.
No, I want to see them play the way it's supposed to be played.
yes, exactly.
Because I mean, if I do that in my high school game, I'm getting called every single time, and
Sure.
that's where, and I get it. It's
It's for the fans, right?
it's for the fans. It's you sanitize the game and make it.
I'll tell you the rule they're gonna really get rid of is that breakaway rule. Like they're gonna
Oh,
give that technical foul, 2 shots plus the ball back, because guys want to see fast breaks.
Yep.
They don't want to see some smart defender fouling somebody right before half court.
I mean, Lob City, the Clippers. Can you imagine how many of those highlight plays? I mean, because the Clippers.
Well, anti-fan.
That's what I'm saying.
anti-fan right
The
there.
Clippers team was built on fast break. Blake Griffin, DeAndre Jordan, Chris Paul. That whole thing.
Yeah, I
was,
remember that growing up on
every
that.
game you're waiting for that fast break because he's gonna go between the legs, throw it up. Blake Griffin's gonna windmill it.
Yeah.
What the hell just happened?
Are we watching an All-Star game? Like the All-Star break is supposed to be like 3 months from now.
How do you rank this game? This series, NBA. I think it's been great.
Yeah.
I'm watching WE 90
Felger and Mavs.
98.5, and they're shitting all over it, man.
Saying what?
What?
Saying what?
Poorly played. These teams would be the worst NBA champion in the last 40 years.
Because it's small market. I mean, I can
Yeah.
see what they're saying. They don't have many stars like on each team. Like, because some of the teams that we've seen win, like the Lakers that just won, you have LeBron, Anthony Davis. Then the Warriors, forget about it. You got like 4 Hall of Famers on that team. If you break it down on the Suns, I mean, I know Booker's really good, and I love Booker. Chris Paul's obviously a Hall of Famer, but like, other than that, you have like nobody really else that's like super entertaining. Same thing with the Bucks. You have Giannis, and then Drew Holiday, but Drew Holiday's not, and Anthony Davis is your second best player. You know what I mean? So I get what they mean, but I think it's been fun. I always love a good
I
like
enjoy it.
team that hasn't won in a long time.
Yeah. It's 2 underdog stories.
Yeah, exactly. 2 teams that if someone came to me beginning of the season and said, "Yo, the Bucks and the Suns are gonna be in the finals," I'd be like, "Okay, I'll take that bet right now," because I think I would have 100% thought I would have won, because I would have never predicted this.
Yeah.
Sure.
So I love it.
Well, it's gonna come down. It's gonna come down to showtime tomorrow. No show tomorrow. No show Thursday for BadCatz. Mike and Mika will be canceled also on Wednesday. We got a lot going on around here. We'll be back together again on Monday of next week for BadCatz with the same cats and crew here tomorrow. It's the Hurricane for Sage, for Riley, for my man with the plan, that could be the coolest Red Sox hat I've ever seen, bud.
The camo one.
The coolest,
Yeah.
the coolest one I've seen. We'll be back tomorrow, next week. Peace.
Peace.